Okay, hi boys and girls. I see you've all been doing some fantastic work. I want to take a little bit of time now to look over what you've done so far. So I'm going to first of all look at the chapter that you've been studying on the circle. So let's look back over the parts of a circle first of all. We have the diameter. Important thing to remember about the diameter is it runs through the centre of the circle. We have the radius, which is always half of the diameter. It goes from the outside of the circle and stops at the centre. We have the circumference, which is running around the perimeter of the circle. At this side, you can see the arc, which is the curved side of the circle. A sector, which is formed by two radii. And finally, the quadrant. Okay, a quadrant is actually a sector as well. And there's an arc on a quadrant as well. So an arc is a part of the circumference. A sector is a section of the circle made by an arc and two radii. And a quadrant is a quarter of the circle. So there would be 4 quadrants in a circle. The plural of the word radius is radii. Okay, so the first piece of work that you had to do was page 148. So we're going to correct that now, and you can self-correct your work as I call them out. So the number 1A, the correct answer, any straight line from the centre to the circumference is a radius. For 1B, a slice of the circle between 2 radii is called a sector. For 1C, the perimeter or curved side of a circle is called a circumference. For D, a section of the circumference is called an arc. E, the middle point inside the circle is called the centre, shown here in the picture. Any straight line from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the centre, is called a diameter. Now that's important there. I know that in one of the sections in the video you saw what was called a chord. Now a chord looks like this. Okay, so what's different between a chord and a radius is that a chord does not go through the centre, whereas a diameter, will always go through the centre. So the diameter goes through the centre, but a chord doesn't. Okay, a chord can run anywhere and it wouldn't go through the centre. So the next one then was the sector. That is exactly a quarter of a circle is called a quadrant. Okay, true or false then, we'll correct those. Question 2, an arc is a straight line, false. A radius is half the diameter, true. 2C, a circle can only have one centre, that is true. A diameter is a line of symmetry, that's true. A diameter makes a right angle, that's false. It does not, it makes a straight angle. A quadrant is a sector, that's true. A circle can only have one diameter, that's false, it can have many. A sector is always a quadrant, that is false. Even though a quadrant is a sector is not always a quadrant. Next, you had to use your protractor to measure each of the angles made by the sectors. Now, I hope all of you have your protractors. If you don't worry. We'll have a look at it anyway when we come back to school. So the first one, 3A, measured 120 degrees. The main thing there is to remember to line your protractor up with a 0 line and count from the 0. Next angle was 90 degrees, 170 degrees, and the last one was 30 degrees. Okay, so we're going to move on now and look at page 149 in the next video. Okay, so next we're going to have a look at page 149. In page 149, you had to look at the pictures and you had to answer the questions. So in the pictures, you can see an orange, you can see a clock, this is the mirror, a window and a plate. Okay, so the first question was, what is the diameter of each of the following? So looking at the clock, so for the clock, you should have gotten a diameter of 12 centimetres. So looking at the clock, the radius is given is 6, so double it to get the diameter, 12. The mirror, so the mirror measures 58 in diameter, so 58 centimetres. And the window measures 76 centimetres, and that's visible there. Okay, next we have B, what is the length of the radius of the orange? So the radius of the orange, so you're given the diameter of 9 centimetres. So in order to work out the radius, you halve the 9. So the radius of the orange is 4.5. Now for the second one, the mirror, you have to get the radius of the mirror. So looking at the mirror, you've given 58. In order to work out the radius, you have to divide the 58 centimetres by 2. So it's 2 into 5 goes twice with 1 over. 2 into 18 goes 9 times. And the next one then is the clock. So the clock, if you look at it, you're given the radius of 6. So that's just straightforward enough, radius of 6. Okay, the next one then, you were asked to work out the total length of the diameters of 2 such plates. Looking at the plate, it measures 11 centimeters in radius. So you first get the diameter by doubling that, 11 and 11. That gives you the diameter of the plate. And then you have to double that because you have to imagine 2 such plates. So it's a radius of 11 plus a radius of 11 gives you a diameter of 22. That's the diameter of 1 plate. Double it, and that tells you what the diameters of 2 such plates would be. So then the answer would be 44 centimeters. Next on to D. Now D, it says, how much shorter, and this is probably the trickiest question you've had so far, how much shorter is the radius of the orange than the radius of the plate? So the radius of the orange is 4.5. The radius of the plate is 11. So here you have to subtract 4.5 from 11. So let's have a quick look at how you would do that. Now the placement here is key. So you have your 11 centimeters and I need to subtract 4.5. So my 4 goes under my units and my 0.5 is going to go here. So I need to put up my 0.0. We were doing a little bit of this before we finished up. So we say 0 take 5, cannot do, go next door and rename. 10 take 5 is 5, keep your decimal point in position. 0 take 4 you cannot do, go next door and rename. 10 take 4 is 6. So the correct answer is 6.5 centimeters. That's for number 1D on page 149. Next, looking at E, it asks, what is the combined length of the diameter of all 5 objects? So, starting with the orange, 9, plus the clock, 12, plus the mirror, 58, plus the plate, 22, and plus the window, 76. Adding all them up together, you get 27 in this column, put down your 7, carry your 2. Adding all these up together then, you get 17. So it's 177 centimetres is the combined diameter of all 5 objects. Or you can also write that as 1.77 metres. And finally, I want to look at the puzzle. So you were also asked to have a look at the puzzle at the bottom of page 149. So let's have a look at that next. So at the bottom of page 149, you can see the puzzle. It says, how many circles are there all together? So the correct answer for that is 11.